chaos or dealing with mega corporations, then listen to this. Christians don't need to waste money on a broken system. That's why I want to tell you about Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's an alternative to traditional health insurance at half the cost. With CHM, fellow believers contribute monthly to help pay each other's medical bills. There's no enrollment period, so you can join anytime. And you aren't restricted to provider networks, so you choose the doctors and hospitals you want. It's that simple. CHM is not insurance. It's a ministry that puts faith into action. Feel the difference of financial support and biblical care from fellow believers. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
The Kennedy Center is removing references to President Trump.
This move comes after a federal judge ruled that the Trump references were added illegally. A Thursday memo to staff from the Kennedy Center's Office of General Counsel says email signatures, letterhead, and other documents must reflect the name as the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, or Kennedy Center. The changes must be completed by June 12th.
That's correspondent Andrew Stewart reporting. Meanwhile, the judge has also blocked the Trump administration from closing the venue for major renovations planned for July. Television and movie actors have voted to ratify a 4-year contract with studios and streaming services. This comes after union leaders negotiated protections against synthetic actors created by artificial intelligence. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters. One of baseball's
Hi, I'm Tommy Mello with Garage Door Doctors. My mom recently moved into a new home with a builder-grade garage door. Noisy, flimsy, and not built to last, so we're fixing that. Mom, you're my hero. When I was growing up, she worked 3 jobs just to save our house.
And helped you build this company.
Now I'm giving her a beautiful new garage door that's built to last. The garage is 40% of your home's curb appeal. When it looks good and it works great.
Life is good. Thanks, Tommy.
From repairs to upgrades, call Garage Door Doctor today.
When it comes to garage doors, no one knows more than the doctor. Garage Door Doctor.
We got a call late New Year's Eve. A father with big plans for his family the next day said his garage door spring just snapped. He couldn't get his car out and wouldn't be able to get his family to where they needed to go. He felt stuck and alone. So we showed up fast with the right spring and the right parts to fix it right. We didn't talk about the price. We didn't wait till the morning. We fixed it right then. Because at Garage Door Doctor, it's never just about the job. It's about the person behind it. The dad, the veteran, the grandpa, the neighbor. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Garage Door Doctor. When you need help, we're the ones that show up. Call Garage Door Doctor today or schedule online at garagedoordoctor.biz. We fix garage doors fast with quality parts designed to last a lifetime because we're proud to serve the people who rely on us.
When it comes to garage doors, no one knows more than the doctor. Garage Door Doctor.
Andale, amigos. That's right. It's Amigos Forever here on the Voice of Texas. Thanks for joining us on a rainy Friday drive home afternoon. You got the tax man, El Senador Paul Betancourt, as the El Capitan. We've got the soul man of the upcoming Strew Review, Ben Struzan, and the effervescent, ever-ready-to-eat pizza, Judge Eric Andel. And while they eat their thin crust pizza, courtesy of, I guess,
Jimmy X.
I was going to say, had to be
good, Jimmy. Man. Thank you.
You know, we put Jimmy X on last week.
You are the man, Jimmy X.
We put him on, and he's good for 3 boxes of pizza, just like Pat used to be Good for 30 miles with the headline.
You know, I gave up my microphone for him.
Well, that was a wise decision.
That's why I got all the
You
pizza
got
on my.
pizza, You're now getting fed.
That's why all the pizza's
What
on
more
this
do you
side.
want?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Jimmy. Excellent.
By the way, breaking news on a topic that I'll post over the weekend. There's been quite a big consternation around AI data centers.
Yeah.
And to the point where a couple counties, Hood County and others, were thinking about trying to pass a moratorium, a ban on AI development, along with some other counties wanted to ban, let's see, residential development, multifamily, aka apartments, cogen, pick a number.
Don't they have to bring their own power now, though?
They do, but here's the good.
Water.
Here's the good news. Yes, they do have to bring their own power, and Google is talking about investing in water projects. Okay, so things are moving in the right direction, but the counties simply don't have that power to be able to say, you're not going to build this, you're not going to build that. We'd have 254 patchwork quilt mini states here. Hill County actually went out and passed a ban. And as soon as they passed the ban, the AI developer sued them for $100 million. And Eric, I sent out a letter because it's crystal clear.
Well, there's legislation that says they can't stop that, correct?
Yeah, well, I mean, the law is clear that home rule cities could have until Representative Patterson and I passed a bill that said they couldn't. Home rule counties never have the authority. There's AG opinions. And so Hill County just rescinded. They said, oops. Once they got a lawsuit, they disappeared. And this is I want to call it a reality wake-up call, that you may not like a development, but you have to follow the laws of the state. Because, Ben, can you imagine what, our leftist progressive friends...
I was going to say, Democrats don't follow the laws now.
Oh, for God's sake.
Why should they start?
Pretty early. How long did it take for that shot? Let's see. It's
anyway.
4:10.
By the way, if you want to join live and watch us eat pizza, go to KSEVradio.com on Twitter, Facebook, Rumble. What else? YouTube.
And by the way, Ben, I was promoting you at the Winners and Losers at TPPF in Austin live from 1:30. We'll have Sherry Sylvester on, and who was the host of that here in about, make it 10 minutes. Anyway, back to the AI data center. So here's the point. Already ERCOT, Ben, is trying to look at some frameworks to sort the wheat from the chaff on these AI data centers. Ben, I have to give you credit because you called one out that was going to be trouble 6 months ago. Fermi is what it was, or what did they call it?
Yeah, well, it was initial public offering, or IPO. I thought it was way overvalued, and I think the initial offering price was 22, and then it kind of soared into the high 30s in the euphoria of the AI,
fever
that we were having. But I mean, it's didn't have any revenue that I'm aware of, maybe some lease revenue, and it's got a commitment to lease some land from Texas Tech. And in fact, we had
Chancellor Brandon
Creighton on. I think that was the same day. And, the stock has fallen down to I think it's around 6 somewhere right now. So, and they've actually turned over their management. So, I know that former Governor Rick Perry and his son are involved in that, and they still hold a lot of shares of that.
Well, but this is an example. There's going to be lots of people talk about it. There's a lot of people talk about AI data centers. Elon Musk is convinced that they can put one up, in orbit and use, get rid of the waste heat into space. Now, so this technology is going to change, but we can't have counties saying, I want these, I don't like these, I don't like chemical plants, I don't want industry, I don't want residential development, I don't want whatever, because we'd have 254 many states. And that was really my purpose of trying to keep Hood County from doing it. And I knew the moment that somebody did do it and a real developer would file suit, they folded, boom.
It does seem, though, that counties wouldn't. I'm not talking about the legislation, but if you didn't want something in your backyard like that, and you'd have no say. I mean, it doesn't matter. They can go pick. In other words, if I, as an entrepreneur, want to be in Dallas County, I get to be in Dallas County. Period.
But there are county ordinances around that.
Not ordinances, but there are project rules and development that they go through. what counties can't do is just say we're not going to have any of X, Y, and Z.
But they can vote to have no tax benefits for them, right? I mean, they can
Well-
say we're not going to give you incentives. To
Well,
come
they
to
could
our
say,
county.
sure, they could say I'm not going to give you an abatement.
Right.
Okay. But there's been so much froth, and the other thing is, there's so much money on this from George Soros, and also probably, I say probably, you'd have to assume the Chinese are behind some of this, because they don't want these centers developed. Now, on the U.S. side, a lot of people, and I think I hope that it's not completely misplaced, but they see AI data centers as job killers. Effectively, they're going to kill somebody's job. They may have jobs there, but this means that somebody loses their job. And also, there's a lot of concern about what was power and water.
Why? Well,
Now-
isn't that an
Well,
actuality?
the White House has made it very clear that everybody, as Ben said, needs to bring their own power effectively to the party. And there are some interesting stories that just came out, not only just Google saying, hey, they're going to invest in water projects, but there's a pretty good shot that you could take some of the salinity or medium salinity water from the Permian Basin and use it in these type of cooling operations. There's a lot to discuss, but just because 20 people are talking about building an AI data center, Ben, what would you say? How many of them are actually going to get approved?
Approved or constructed? You mean?
Constructed.
I think the bulk of them will get approved. As far as construction, they may
way
it
less
may
than
be,
half.
No, it actually may be more.
No,
you
not
think.
after the first few go in, Ben, because they're going to absorb the market.
The demand is huge, Paul. It's absolutely huge. That's what's leading to all the stock run-ups. And nobody really knows where the top is or where it peaks out at. But it's all about the cost of the token. And for people that never heard that before, a token is a unit of computer power.
Right.
So if the cost of the token goes down, then the demand for the computer power is going to go up.
Right. Now effectively there's quantum computing involved in this too.
Well, that's down the road.
Well,
but
it's pretty close. And now the other, but a point that I think we need to make about all this is that
do we have 4 now in Texas?
There's only 10 approved nationally. Or actually,
Okay,
I
think
mean, there's that website that keeps track. There's like 200 of them.
I know there's definitely 1 or 2 up in Lubbock. That are
Well,
in
there's
Lubbock.
200 of these things and they're keeping track on. I'll remember the website in a second. That shows all the projects, but there's only about 10 to 12 that are actually going into the ground right now. So with all of this, we're going to get to the legislature. We're going to be able to look at all of it, but it would be a terrible precedent to. The counties are agents of the state. We give them authority.
I mean, you wouldn't want Alina Hidalgo making that decision.
Because Eric, because what she would do is she would say, oh, I don't want any gas plants, or oh, I don't want any chemical plants. Oh, green energy means get rid of the refineries. I mean, you can't delegate that authority to county commissioners court.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable.
You just can't do it.
You can't stop them from doing it. Did you don't want it? The citizens as all Republicans or don't want it there. They just don't want it, and they couldn't stop it. They just couldn't stop it.
Well,
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I'm not saying that's not the law. It's just kind of amazing to me that a county voters and they don't want it. They just flat don't want it, even though the entrepreneur wants it.
You know,
they
now
don't want
we
it.
don't know.
Now he's talking Bernie.
I
He's
don't.
now playing Bernie.
When
Bernie.
you say
we
they
don't want
they
these-
don't want it, I don't know that a majority of
Well,
county
that's-
voters don't
But
want it.
they wouldn't even
I
have
mean,
a right to vote for it. I mean, it wouldn't
well,
matter.
But they don't have a right to vote for a lot of things.
Well,
I mean, if
I'm-
I don't have a right
I'm
to
just-
vote about
I'm
Lena
just
Hidalgo
bringing-
and
I'm
her
just bringing up
her
a
attorneys for illegal immigrant program. I don't like that
or
one.
her lottery, universal
I
basic
get
income.
it. I was just saying, I want to go to that county, and they just plop it in that county. Okay, well,
Now,
that's
Ben,
fine.
I think what you'll
manure plant or something. Okay, great.
All right, well,
bring it.
you can check out. We had a really good program with at noon up in Austin with Cardle and Woolley, and they broadcast here. They broadcast their reruns at 5:00 on Sunday. I actually listened to it on the way to church.
Who?
Whose reruns?
Cardle and
Ours?
Woolley. Yeah, ours.
Who?
Our reruns.
No, ours. We used to be at 4:00 on Sunday, and then we got moved to 2 on Saturday. They run at 5 o'clock. So they were on with Sherry Sylvester.
On our station?
Yeah.
On KSEV?
Right.
Oh,
on ours. Right, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they run at
I
5.
thought you were about reruns of the Amigos show
Is it a
somewhere.
podcast or what is it?
No, it's their actual live radio show that broadcasts.
And we let them broadcast on
Yeah,
KSEV?
sure. Dan loves them, and they brought them on.
Okay.
Now, the interesting thing is, and Ben, we've been tracking this for a while, but Sherry's very smart. We will lead into her call. She looked at, Ben, what's the new stat that's interesting this morning? Business stat, say it.
I don't know. Consumer
confidence?
No, that's, on the negative side, but on the positive side.
Oh, the unemployment.
Job growth.
Unemployment. Yeah,
Job
172. Yeah.
So we jumped.
It's a big number.
Big number, about twice what was expected. So we got new jobs that are going up here, but consumer sentiment is going down like a rock, right?
Yeah, it's 38.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
38.
bad, yeah.
So the question is, which force overwhelms the other?
I know the answer.
The fulcrum point.
The smart one says he knows the answer.
I know I can answer that.
Is that the smart ASS?
The downward trend.
I've got a clip. We'll play it later.
You'd have a clip?
I do have a clip.
Well, let's play it.
Let me look at my clip
Can
numbers.
you do a clip chart? Because
let me have.
Because we're going to get Sherry on the promo.
Number one.
Ever consumer sentiment, ever. And this measure has been taken since the mid-20th century. And of course, we are now in the 21st century. It is down, get this, 38% since the start of Trump's term all the way back in January of 2025. Just a massive decline. And this is fueling Democrats. It's fueling Democrats on the most simple of questions. That is, you identify as a Democrat, Republican, Independent, etc. And when we allocate those independents, look at this, to the Democrats, Republicans. Democrats right now have a 13-point lead. A 13-point lead on Republicans on this most basic of measure. And when we look back at prior midterm cycles, at this point, this 13-point lead is bigger than any in at least 20 years. It even beats 2006, when Democrats easily took back the U.S. House of Representatives and gained 6 Senate seats, which if it happened this year, Democrats would be, that is perfect for us. We would take back the Senate as well.
All I have to say is ouch.
Ouch. Now,
But you've been saying that about the independents peeling off.
No, and I did, and they peeled off. And I also said we're back to 2006 and 2008. I said that live up in Austin, because and Harry is right that we're back that far. This far downdraft is far worse than 2018 at this point. Now it's still June, a lot can happen. But Ben, that was a fantastic clip.
Yeah.
And we're going to have Sherry Sylvester on, and she's a fantastic guest.
Oh, she's on the line already.
So why don't we take a break and we'll talk to her right after this.
our freedom. God bless America and God bless Texas.
If you have roof problems, you can sure see them when it rains. This is Deb Tejada from Tejas Roofing. If you see a leak, call me immediately, 281-251-0304. I'll send over the Tejas Roof Repair truck.
That truck has everything our experienced crew needs to fix your roof, right then and there.
The Tejas Roofing crew has been working together fixing leaky roofs for 15 years.
It's not a pretty truck, but it has everything we need to get the job done. I kind of like the way it looks.
Most roofing repairs cost less than $500. Why? Because we find the cause of the leak and repair that leak. We won't try to sell you services you don't need.
And we'll fix it right away because everything we need is in our truck.
Don't put off fixing a leaky roof. Call me at Tejas Roofing and I'll send over the truck. 281-251-0304. When you think of roofing repairs or a new roof, think Tejas Roofing, your Houston roofing company. 281-251-0304. That's Tejas Roofing, 281-251-0304.
Got a question or comment for the Amigos? Call now, 281-558.
Yeah, you've got the tax man in with the three amigos here on the Voice of Texas. Got the soul man, got the judge, and we have one of our favorite amigos in from Austin, San Antonio, live as we were together live on her program, Winners and Losers, at noon in TPF in Austin. That's Sherry Sylvester. Hey, Sherry, how are you?
Chairman, it's great to be here and great to join the Amigos. It's a great Friday, getting ready for Game 2 in Texas, the revenge game in San Antonio, where we prepare to crush the New York Knicks.
We better.
We're going to crush the Knicks, just crush them. We got guys in the booth that are giving me the thumbs down. You know, we're supposed to be for all New York teams. Oh, no, wait a minute. I moved out of New York. We're supposed to be for Florida teams now. We're in Florida. We love Florida. Don't love. We're going to crush the Knicks, right, Sarah? Just crush them.
Are you going to be at the game, Sherry?
Will not be at the game. You know, you have to mortgage your house
Yeah.
to be at the game.
That's fair. That's a fair
Sherry,
point.
by the way,
But, you know, we do have all our parks are open and huge screens in the parks, and so the real people are out doing that.
out dodging rain showers, whatever. Now, Jerry, you came up with a great question to open up your winners and losers. Ben actually came up with a great clip because great minds think alike. Basically, you know, we're looking at a situation. You had these great job numbers. It's double what happened from a forecast perspective, but at the same time, consumer sentiment is in the toilet. So you asked me that question, and I gave you the answer that's really going to decide the midterms is the fight between the two. So what say you? Because Ben's going to say he has the answer next.
Well, I can't wait to hear Ben's answer, but I was looking at, Mr. Chairman, as you know, we got the job numbers this morning. 172,000 new jobs have been created when the economists were predicting about half of that, about 80,000 jobs. And as you guys know, they put those numbers out as if they're nationwide. Those jobs are Texas jobs. I mean, we had a great week. Samsung's moving here. Exxon's going to reincorporate here. But these are Texas policies. These are low-tax, reasonable regulation policies. And that's what's happening. But on the other hand, gas is going through the roof. People have had it with inflation. I think it comes down, Ben, what do you think? I think it comes down to whether people believe that the Democrats can fix it, which is a huge leap in belief. You know, what do they call it? A suspension of belief. If you think the Democrats have the competence to fix it.
Well, the independents do. That's the key. I mean, the independents may believe that.
Right. And before Ben answers, let's play the clip again because I think, Ben, that was really a good clip because it sets up everything. The question, and Harry at 10 has done the polling, and the polling's pretty ugly for Republicans.
Feel about the current and future economy, we get the worst ever consumer sentiment ever. And this measure has been taken since the mid 20th century. And of course, we are now in the 21st century. It is down, get this, 38% since the start of Trump's term, all the way back in January of 2025. Just a massive decline. And this is fueling Democrats. It's fueling Democrats on the most simple of questions. That is, you identify as a Democrat, Republican, Independent, etc. And when we allocate those independents, look at this, to the Democrats or Republicans. Democrats right now have a 13-point lead. A 13-point lead on Republicans on this most basic of measure. And when we look back at prior midterm cycles, at this point, this 13-point lead is bigger than any in at least 20 years. It even beats 2006, when Democrats easily took back the U.S. House of Representatives and gained 6 Senate seats, which if it happened this year, Democrats would be, yeah, that is perfect for us. We would take back the Senate as well.
And by the way, that literally is what, and Sherry knows, that's how I opened up. I said, we're back in 2006, 2008. So true, Sherry. And by the way, Sherry is you're the most senior fellow at Texas Public Policy Foundation, right?
Well, I am a most senior fellow, I think. Emphasis on the senior. But,
yeah, don't go there,
so
Sherry. Don't. No.
I love.
So, yeah. So
I love being there.
All right. So y'all having answered what was ever the original question, I think Sherry did touch on a point that is accurate, and that is that to the extent possible, like in the Senate race, if Paxton can pose to Tallarico, are you going to support the Democrat platform, the progressive agenda, and make him commit point by point or use his voting record to demonstrate how close he is to the progressive agenda? I think that is probably, when it comes to economics and solving problems, that's probably the best shot I think Paxton has at scoring.
You know, what's interesting, the Cal Sheet prediction markets have Paxton up to about 58%, to Tallarico's 42%, but the polling is even. And Eric, now what would you do if you're Tallarico, since you're the Democrat on the panel? Go.
Well, he doesn't have to do much. I mean, he doesn't have to do much.
Actually, he should. The less he does, the better off he is. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
True?
Because he's counting on the Valley too. That the shakeup because of the immigration issues and all of that. He's looking at a change over the Valley. He's going to get the independents, and he's polling pretty well amongst. I would say, yeah. Well, here's the thing. Let me come back. Yeah, I would do less is more.
Yeah.
Because don't engage.
I don't see how you get by with doing that in a Senate race with this kind of media attention.
Yeah, but he can. He's good. He's good on his feet.
But Sherry,
you think you're going to tie him down on social issues? I mean,
no. I actually think that Paxton's initial tagging the guy and defining your opponent first, that's what that was all about. He's too weird for Texas, but I do think the campaign is going to evolve into trying to portray him as being a progressive Democrat and making him commit to things like, well, you're going to vote for statehood for D.C. and Puerto Rico, or are you going to vote to pack the Supreme Court?
I don't think it's going to matter.
No, I think Sherry had a better deal. Look, if you're going to do that, you're going to talk about men and women's sports. You're going to talk about things that people already have an emotional dislike for, because you have to break through on this. You can't make it in a read-through argument about statehood. You got to go straight for a real emotional chord. Sherry, what do you think? I mean, a net 13 for Democrats, that's horrifyingly bad on a poll, a generic poll nationally. True?
I think that, as we were saying this morning, Chairman, the question is compared to what? And what I think we're seeing in California, it's not that California is suddenly turning Republican. They are looking for competence. And so you're talking about Tallarico, the entire Republican ticket, the entire Democrat ticket, is from Travis County. They're all Austin people, bankrupt.
Well, I think Rosenthal's from Harris County, but whatever.
But it's all about the independents and which way they come down. And I don't think they're going to go for the progressive agenda of the Democrats.
We do know that in the special election in Tarrant County, independents, Hispanics, Eric, they went about 75-25 against Republicans. Now, Sherry makes a good point with this. let's talk about California, okay? Now, there are updwellings against this national downdraft. Virginia was one because of how bad the governor misplayed that redistricting bill. But in California, there is an updwelling that is pushing back against the Republican downdraft. And it is, people are sick of what they've got. The California is dysfunctional. They're still counting votes. I mean, they'll be counting votes till Tuesday. Their policies are terrible. And in L.A., and Eric, you know this because you've visited, L.A. is a wreck.
Well, they've got some on-the-ground issues there.
They're
the fire for the guy's running a good campaign.
Well, no, and he's running a great campaign because he's a poster child. And he didn't have a home.
Yeah, I know.
Because he got burned out and
right.
they won't let him build it.
And he has great ads, and he makes his point very succinctly. But the bottom line is, even in that election, Democrats, when you add up the Democrats, they ended up getting about 65% of the vote, and Republican got 35. Any Republican can get 35% of the vote in California.
To the extent that in L.A. it is competence. That's what he's running against.
Sure,
the mayor,
because that's his only way to win.
The whole city burned down. Someone is incompetent, right?
Sherry,
but Tallarico's not. If the idea you all have the idea Tallarico's incompetent, that's not true.
That's not my idea.
That is not going to. He is not incompetent. Now, from a Republican versus Democrat, yes, he is. No, he's not. But that's not going to trip him up.
I don't think a lot of the independents that have been drifting away from Republicans and are either thinking about Tallarico or thinking they'll vote for Tallarico, I don't think they're going to be comfortable with Tallarico's position on the progressive platform.
Okay, Sherry, what say you? She's our guest, and we should let her talk. Guys.
No, I agree.
That's right.
I agree. Let's look at Tallarico's vote. If he's following the Democrat pattern for votes in the legislature, that doesn't spell competence. And the problem for Democrats is that it's the state, where we started here, we're creating more jobs than anybody else in the country. So that's the record. So you've got who's on the top of the ticket? Greg Abbott. Who's right under him? Governor Patrick.
A really great guy, Sherry. I really like him. He's one of my religious guys. I love him. Dan Patrick is a great guy.
So you've got that going on up against Houston, Harris County, where I live, San Antonio, Bexar County, whatever's happening up in Dallas, which is, we've got a reasonable mayor there. But that's their record of competence and incompetence, and they have to stand and say, oh, what's going on in our cities is really cutting edge, and nobody believes that.
But, Eric, there is a possibility, you're right, Ben, about the numbers, because I added up the numbers, and it's tough, but a anti-corruption, cleanup guy that's running in L.A., who has been literally burned out of his home, can't get a permit, living in a hotel, is a great person to run against Mayor Bass because she is incompetent. She appears to be corrupt. And the leftist progressives put up a candidate that's going to get 20-some-odd% plus. So they're not happy with her. And the question is, do they stay home? And because they don't want to vote for the person.
Well, Tallarico's going to use an anti-corruption argument going the other way. So, I mean, it's Tallarico's a pretty formidable candidate, is all I'm saying. You can't sell him short that he's not going to have a chance on just hitting him with progressive. The fact that he might be a progressive, I don't think that's going to be enough.
Okay, Sherry, we have to give you the last word because we're blown past a break. So we if you want to pitch winners and losers, you can do. I know you got a book that you're trying to write, so have at it. You get the last minute.
Writing about a book which is just filled with stories of how I used to be on the far left earlier in my life, and now I
and then you dated Eric,
and then he went out with me, and that was the
right.
End
She
of
went out with Eric, and that was the end of it.
That
right?
was the end of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, Sherry, that's two L's.
So kind of have looked at it from both sides. But winners and losers.
That's a song.
Winners and Losers runs on Sunday afternoon on KSEV, so you can listen to it. Try to do that every week.
Fantastic.
5 o'clock.
And one of the things.
Another station, another program I know nothing about. What?
Well, you should listen on the weekends. You just turn it off after you go home. Anyway, Sherry, I think this is probably all of us, all three of us, and of course Jim Cardle's calling next hour, and Lynn, we've been doing this for decades. This is probably the wildest, frothiest year, really, in a quarter century. I mean, certainly in 20 years, and almost anything can happen because the polling is literally hyperbolic, up, down, some issues, off the charts. Consumer sentiment terribly down. Independents, unhappy with Trump, but the economy's roaring, and there's a lot of things that are basically happening on public policy that favor the Republicans. So I leave it with you. What would be your final prescription for everybody to win or to win this public policy cultural war?
Well, it's to keep remembering. I think Eric's right. We can't just hit them with stereotypes. Just remember, the only relevant question in politics is compared to what? Yeah, the Republicans have been in power since 2003 in Texas, and when you're in power that long, people have had time to pick bones with you and get mad at you. But the Democrat side, I have not seen one policy proposal that they put forward where people are saying, yeah, that's a great idea. We want to hand the schools back to them? I don't think so. We want to hand transportation back to them, water. There's no policy. Property taxes? No.
I mean, is
one,
Talarico going to be in favor of Medicare for all?
I don't know.
At this point, Ben, I doubt it. Okay.
Yeah,
and we'll talk to Jim Cardle about this. We'll pick this up next hour because, by the way, he is formidable because Jim Cardle said he saw a side by side of the same answer on two different stations, and it was word for word the same. So he is a scripted but formidable candidate because he's not going to make he's going to make
too many. He blundered in the primary. He blundered.
Well,
in his
but
own
that whole
primary.
interview, what's the name of that thing, Emily or whatever it was, that long interview, it was a disaster. I chopped it up and used it too because he should never be talking about rigged elections and voter suppression in Texas. Sherry Sylvester, the senior fellow at Texas Public Policy, the host and primary driver of Winners and Losers. You can listen to it at 5 o'clock on
which I will.
700 a.m. I do.
I'm going to start listening.
Right, or you can catch it live if you're in the Austin area on our another station, 1370. Anyway, either way, we're happy to be working with them and Sherry.
Speaking of Austin, how about the women's softball team? How about that, Sherry?
UT crushed it.
I mean, didn't they?
That's a great
game.
sport.
That's a women's softball is a great sport.
We agree on that.
It's a great sport.
Amigos.
What's
Thanks
that?
for having me.
Well, it's always been a blast to have.
Thanks for having me on, Amigo.
Well, and have a great Amiga on. We'll take you anytime,
Thank
Sherry.
you.
Have a
Thank
great
you,
weekend.
Sherry.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, let's turn and burn. Get your calls in 281-558-5738, 281-558 KSEV or pound KSEV is free for those Verizon callers. The three Amigos will be back after this.
Be a Planner Show host Nathan Ross wants to remind you, please consider all the syndication terms of your private real estate partnership. By understanding the syndication math, Nathan can help you assess the benefits of ownership. Visit beaplanner.com or tune in each Sunday at 7 a.m. for the Be a Planner Show with Nathan Ross, CPA on KSEV.
When it comes to garage doors, no one knows more than the doctor. Garage Door Doctor.
I started my first business at 12 years old, mowing lawns for about $5 a yard. I thought I was crushing it until my buddy down the street undercut me by $2. But he didn't just cut the price. He cut corners too. That's when I learned if you do the job right, people trust you and integrity beats profit. People care more about how you show up and whether you do what you say you're going to do. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Garage Door Doctor. From garage door repairs to upgrades, we show up, we crush it, and we stand behind every job. We only use the best parts and the spring's guaranteed to last a lifetime. Because when you care about the people you serve, you work harder and it shows. From repairs to upgrades, call Garage Door Doctor today or schedule online at garagedoordoctor.biz. And yeah, we still beat the other guy.
When it comes to garage doors, no one knows more than the doctor. Garage Door Doctor.
office is located, 1 Sugar Creek Center, Sugar Land, Texas.
Thinking of buying a home? It's important to start off with a solid pre-approval. Hi, I'm Kathy Baker from Baker Mortgage. Yes, we ask a lot of questions, but that's because we're not going to give you a pre-approval that's going to blow up as you're trying to cross the finish line. What's figured in there for property taxes? If it didn't come up, you really don't know what you're pre-approved for. That should make you wonder what else they may have left out. At Baker Mortgage, we get it right. We haven't been around for 60 years because we're lucky. Yes, we have wholesale rates, 80-10-10s, and all kinds of programs, but in the end, it's really about taking good care of people, and they continue to come back and send their kids, their friends, and sometimes their parents. Whether you're buying, building, or refinancing, call us at Baker Mortgage. We're at 281-313-6683. That's 281-313-MOVE or directly at bakermortgage.com.
Equal housing lender. License 263213.
Plumbing emergencies never happen at a convenient time. Usually they happen on the weekends, holidays, or while you're away on vacation. I'm Richard Sod, president of Nick's Plumbing. When you find yourself facing a plumbing emergency, call the licensed and experienced professionals at Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services. Nick's Plumbing has been Houston's first choice for all your plumbing needs since 1979. Our experts can take your most difficult plumbing issues and fix them fast, fix them right, and usually for less than you'd expect. Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services is the right choice for any plumbing job, from a leaky faucet, whole house repipe, or a complete sewer line replacement. You can count on Nick's Plumbing to do the job right. With over 40 years in business and over 150,000 satisfied customers, Nick's wants to be your plumbing company. Nick's Plumbing offers free estimates and free second opinions. Call Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services, 713-868-9907, or visit us on the web, nicksplumbing.com.
NPL 38548.
Call Nick's Plumbing today. We're on the way.
Got a
1965, released and went to number 1 on this date. We've got more songs that were released and went to
Greg,
number
go to
1.
compression on this. Come on, let's go.
They could have paid.
Oh, now he takes it off. Okay.
Dolly Parton's version. She wrote this song and released it in 1974, and it went to number 1. Of course, Whitney Houston made her a millionaire.
Yeah, of course, right.
Yeah, she said that too.
1964, Beatles released.
I know.
Love Me Do. One of their
another
classics.
number 1.
Yeah, another number 1. That's exactly what we're playing today on this date. 1984, Bruce Springsteen releases, and it goes to number 1. Born in the USA.
Born
Folks,
in the USA.
This is
Mount Rushmore for Bruce Springsteen.
This is KSEV.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Yeah, keep going. KGBC 1540. The voice of Texas, Senator Benton Court, Ben Struzan, Eric Andel, with 2 L's. I want Sherry to get that right in the book that she's writing. That's 2 L's.
Yeah, during
A-N-D-E-L-L.
you missed it during the break. Ben actually said, "Did you go out with Sherry Sylvester?"
I would have.
Yeah,
I would have been shocked. She said yes, but
no, who knows? Eric could have.
Me?
Maybe.
Are you kidding?
She was liberal when she was 20, and now that she's 50, she's conservative.
That song in that movie, Shallow, was written about me. Yeah. Shallow, yeah. I mean, it's no big
actually,
deal.
you should have a version it's very shallow, like almost,
very
1 millimeter shallow.
That's almost redundant, but I'm at the bottom side of shallow. I mean, shallow is shallow, right?
All right.
Okay,
let's
never
take
mind.
a call. Yeah, bottom. There we go. Don, you're up next on The Voice of Texas. Come on, Don.
Good afternoon, amigos.
Thank you.
Hola.
Hey, Paul, if you want to see something that'll make your heart sing, look at Bob Costa's face first time he had to present that trophy to the Rockets.
Oh, that's true. Right.
I remember that.
Nothing like he had to eat a dream shake. He had to eat that dream shake. I was really good. All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Voter turnout for the primary, May 26th. I've got the Republican voter turnout about 1.4 million.
Yeah.
And a Democrat slightly under 550,000.
Yeah, they didn't.
We didn't have that Senate runoff.
This is the reverse of what happened in the primary in March. where the Democrats substantially outvoted the Republicans. Here, that was literally, Ben, how much money do you think was spent in the U.S. Senate race?
Total for the entire race?
Well, or just in the runoff, what, 50, 100 million?
I think it was under 50, but not too much.
Okay.
Well, there were no top of the
ticket. I'm talking about not what the campaign spent, but what all these other PACs and all the other people that were dumping ads.
It's probably $75 to $100 million. So Don, the big difference is the Democrats had nothing.
Nothing was contested.
Right.
I mean, statewide. Rosenthal.
Well, I don't see a lot of Democrat enthusiasm for Tallarico.
Well, there was in March. Okay.
Yeah, there is.
Now, by the way, we had that discussion today too, Ben. I think the last time we saw some data that there, and I think Harry Attend quoted, it was about a 20-point difference between Democrat turnout intention versus Republican.
I don't think so, but you know what?
We have a clip.
Let's play number 2.
See, hey, I'm
to have a lead. But if you're not going to show up and vote, what difference does it make? And this tells the story. Absolutely certain to vote in November. Democrats, 75% of them, when you include the leaners, say that they're absolutely certain to turn out and vote in this midterm election. Republicans, it's just 67%. Now, this is an 8-point advantage, which is very, very important, because essentially what that means is you can take that House lead that Democrats have, and if the likely voters, the actual voters, match this absolutely certain to vote in November, that means that lead would be even larger.
So, of course, that's nationwide, Paul, not necessarily in Texas.
Right.
Well, no, but that 8-point lead is actually, it's less than it used to be, but it means that it's holding. And that means that the intensity among Democrats to vote is still higher than
we saw that in the primary, obviously.
Right. I just don't know if the California people moving into Texas would presumptively they're Republicans fleeing California, but what kind of Republicans? Would they vote for Tallarico, for example? Would they lean Tallarico versus Paxton? I don't know the answer to that question.
I've been seeing for 20 years that Texas is about to turn blue. And it doesn't happen.
Well, because it's been 30 years since Texas did turn blue.
Right, okay. 94 was the turning point.
So
I was part of that.
The numbers I've seen on people moving from other states into Texas, not just California, but from all states, is about 2 out of 3 view themselves as more conservative than they do liberal.
Yeah, I've got a friend of mine that had his own talk show in Seattle for many years, high school history teacher too, and he's changed jobs, moved to Texas, and he's got a job where he's helping companies and people move from blue states to Texas. And he says it's definitely conservatives moving to Texas and liberals fleeing Texas.
Well,
that's possible.
That's possible.
Give and take cup.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
All right, Don.
Always not just in.
But I wouldn't underestimate Tallarico. Is what I'm saying. I don't.
Nobody does, Eric.
Well,
and I think you've got a as you say, a puncher's chance.
Yep.
You know, but it is a Republican state, and
right.
Those betting markets, Paul. What I thought was telling was as soon as Donald Trump endorsed Paxton, the betting markets I would have expected to move closer to even, because once the betting markets knew that the Republican candidate was going to be Paxton, going to be supposedly the weaker candidate for Tallarico to take on, I would have thought the betting markets would have moved closer to even. They did not budge. They stayed 55-45, and I haven't looked at them recently, but if you say it's
58-42.
So it's the betting, and I use that as very predictive because it worked very well in the national elections.
If you were in Vegas and had $1 left, and the black was Paxton, red was Tallarico.
Right. Remember, that's not about margin. That's about who's going to win,
$1
R or D.
Well, you put that dollar on Paxton.
Paxton or Tallarico.
Well, you put that dollar on Paxton. You had $1 left.
Depends what kind of odds you give me, because you're not going to give me even money.
Well, it's a roulette wheel. You got $1.
By the way, I'm going to tell you why I put the dollar on Paxton after the break. Because something has happened that actually
in between
is going to help.
Last time we talked?
Yeah, right. Last time we talked. And so we've got Ben's been 2 for 2 on clips, but So let's get your calls in 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV or pound KSEV. It's free for those Verizon callers. Three Amigos will be back after this on the Voice of Texas.
281-558-5738. That's 281-558-5738.
Is it time to sell your house? Well, then hire a real estate team that will sell your house quickly and for top dollar. That's the Ronnie and Kathy Matthews Group. The team concept starts with experience, a drive and passion from Ronnie and Kathy Matthews, the founders. They built their team with specialists from every aspect of the real estate transaction, from the buyer's agent to the contract administrator to the marketing specialist. This team is working full-time to get your home sold and every detail handled professionally. Call Ronnie and Kathy Matthews Group at 281-440-7900 or on the web visit thematthewsteam.com. Ronnie and Kathy Matthews Group, your realtor for life. Call now for a free home evaluation, 281-440-7900. That's 281-440-7900. Or see for yourself and go online at thematthewsteam.com. I chose them as my realtor, and you'll be happy if you do as well. That's the Ronnie and Kathy Matthews Group at 281-440-7900 or thematthewsteam.com.
That's the Ronnie and Kathy Matthews Group, brokered by EXP.
Eric?
Ben.
Eric, are you there?
Ben.
Yes.
I was eating some pizza. Thank you, Jimmy. Rain, go away. No. Just get a gas grill in time for Father's Day on your patio.
I was going to tell you, a lot of rain going on the last couple of weeks. And I was out there in the middle of what was very close to a hurricane where the wind's blowing sideways and splashing around, and my gas grill fired up right away, first time, igniters lit in a damp, humid environment like that.
Where did you get that grill?
I got it at Gas Product Services.
Wow.
And my buddy, Russell Metzler, who you guys should give a call, 281-798-8006, because I'm talking about firing up a gas grill and the igniters working in the middle of a pouring down rainstorm.
Ben, like it's really humid here, and look, and Russell's igniters, they're huge. They work all the time.
Yeah,
It's Father's Day coming up. Come on, guys.
Yeah, and try to do that with charcoal briquettes. I mean, really, guys, you're going to turn around and try to light charcoal briquettes in the middle of a pouring down rainstorm? Forget it. It doesn't work. I'm telling you, you got to go to gasproductservices.com. Check out his products online. He's got everything to do with outdoor grills. And as Eric said, Father's Day is coming up. And you know what? Father's Day means fathers have to work.
Yep.
Okay? You got to flip burgers on Father's Day.
Ben, you're just a great carnivore. I know you love Father's Day.
I do. And so, folks, check out his products online at gasproductservices.com or give my buddy Russell Metzler a call, 281-798-8006.
This is Kevin O'Hara with O'Hara & Company Real Estate. Our country's founding fathers drafted a document that is the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. My friends at O'Hara & Company Real Estate, we believe we're at a precipice in time where we must take back our country. We must stand up for our freedoms or lose them forever. Please don't sit idle and let it slip away. Don't let anyone force you to do something you choose not to. As JFK said, if not us, who? If not now, when? If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, give O'Hara & Company Real Estate a call at 281-373-3393, 281-373-3393, or look us up on the web at o'harare.com. I'm Kevin O'Hara. God bless America, and God bless Texas.
Hi, this is Michael Miller. Join me this weekend for the Backyard Bay radio program, now at our new time, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., right here on AM 700 KSEV The Voice.
Got a question or comment for
Take it, man.
And welcome back to the Voice of Texas. Thanks for joining us on a Friday drive home afternoon with the three amigos. Been the soul man, the Strew with the view, Strew stand on the right. You got taxman Paul Betancourt at the helm, the liberal lefty judge Eric Andel. Of course, you can join us live, KSEVradio.com, streaming on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Guys, I don't know if you realize this, but last week when we had our interview with Ken Paxton, the Republican Senate nominee, on Twitter alone, we had over 45,000 viewers, and we were
huge.
And and we had 160,000 people click on it at some one time or another.
Craig guy did a great job. He was really out there. I think he comes on after us at 6. Yeah. I heard that he mimicked the Paul Betancourt camp.
Yeah.
The team Betancourt. He did a great job. Because it's a great account to mimic.
Yeah, so we're trying
mimicking the best is always the best.
Yeah, so we're trying to get find ways to get our very good content out to everybody. And of course, if you're watching streaming, you can watch it on your phone.
KSEVradio.com.
Yeah, your smartphone.
Rumble.
Yeah, your smartphone. You can watch it smartphone Twitter or plug it in your smartphone.
We're live
in your
broadcasting
car,
at 1540 a.m.
And we're still doing that
which
the
powers
old-fashioned
up
way.
out of Galveston.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Let's go to the phones. Chris, you're up next on The Voice of Texas. Come on, Chris.
Good day, gentlemen. SpaceX is going to be IPOing next Friday, I believe. We got Exxon here. Samsung's coming here. I think the moral of the story is the franchise tax coffers are going to fill up dramatically here over the next couple of years. That is the only way out of property tax relief. We should be smart, we should be prudent, and we should utilize the resources we have of the state.
Well,
thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. Well, that's
Was he advocating for the franchise tax?
Yeah,
Replacing property tax?
Right.
Yeah.
Increasing.
No,
the
look. I mean,
are they capped? Are those big companies capped at all
No.
on the franchise tax?
No. But the difference is that those franchise taxes are limited in nature.
Because SpaceX is losing money.
Yeah. See, that's right. And part of it is people don't realize that was really a quasi-income tax, and that's why we use sales tax
It was
for
a
the
plug.
Other. Right? It was.
It was
in 2008. It was a plug. They didn't have the money. They wanted to cut property taxes, so we taxed another group to pay for it. Tax swaps never work. They're bad public policy. All right, we'll be back with more of an hour. We've got one more hour to go, and it's going to be huge. It's going to be beautiful, because Craig's going to find another reason to copy that really cool guy, Senator Betancourt. I know he's Dan's friend. I love Dan Patrick. He's a wonderful guy. I love the Amigos. We'll be back after this on The Voice of Texas.
And AM 50 News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Senate passed a bill funding President Donald Trump's immigration enforcement agencies early Friday.
Senators voted 52 to 47 to pass the $70 billion legislation to fund immigration and customs enforcement and Border Patrol for the next 3 years through the end of President Trump's term after Democrats blocked the money for months. The bill will now head to the House, which is expected to take it up next week. The final vote came just before 5 a.m. after Republicans narrowly defeated multiple attempts by members of both parties to add language to the bill that would permanently ban Mr. Trump's settlement fund for allies who believe that they've been politically persecuted. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
President Trump is pledging new support for the coal industry.
The White House billed it as an announcement on beautiful, clean coal. And President Trump declared,
"We will protect 14 coal plants and 42 coal mines,
part of a nearly $700 million plan,
and build 2 new coal plants and 1 massive new export terminal."
Those plants to be built in Alaska and West Virginia, the first new plants in the U.S. since 2013. The terminal in Oakland, California.
Because we're exporting coal. Coal's a great business, really a big business, and it's real power. It's in terms of power, there's really nothing like it.
Ben Thomas, Washington.
President Trump says he wants his new acting director of national intelligence to cut the office, which has already been significantly scaled back during his second term. Trump noted aboard Air Force One the size of the office has been way too high for way too long, and if Bill Pulte cuts it, he wouldn't mind. A rough day on Wall Street with the Dow down by 695 points. The Nasdaq dropped 1,121 points, with the S&P 500 lower by 200 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a super fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. But wait, there's more. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be switching to an American wireless company that's committed to keeping 100% of its customer service in this country. I appreciate that. In fact, that's why I switched. I also appreciate the way they support our vets and our skilled workforce. Dial pound 250, say micro, and get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. That's pound 250 micro. Stop paying twice what you need to pay for the service you want and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
From KSEV, here's political contributor Ben Strusand.
Most polling shows that Republicans are going to have a tough time winning majorities in both houses of Congress in November. Voters blame Trump for inflation and believe that many of the necessities they need to purchase have become unaffordable. 2 out of 3 voters don't believe that preventing Iran from building a nuclear weapon is worth the higher gas prices that they are paying. Voters never give a president credit for preventing bad things like a nuclear war from happening. President Trump should realize by now that the Islamic Republic will never agree to a deal that results in a Trump win. The mullahs read the polls and see the domestic political pressure to end the war. It's part of their strategy. We should stop chasing a bad deal. This does not mean that we should resume unlimited airstrikes, but rather targeted decapitation strikes against their leadership, as the Israelis used effectively. If Iranian leaders won't cut a deal, then let's get new ones. The real leverage we have against Iran is economic. We destroyed what Iran took decades to build. Their defense industrial base used to manufacture drones, missiles, and nuclear weapons. Inflation in Iran is running at 40%. The blockade collapsed the revenue stream used by the Revolutionary Guard Corps, their security services, and all the government infrastructure. If our blockade is allowed to continue and not stopped by Democrats and a few lame duck Republicans in Congress, we can eliminate the mullah's leverage over its people. We don't need regime change to pressure them into a better deal for us. Just perseverance. Intercepting what leaks out via Iran's shadow tanker fleet will speed the process. The best guess is this pressure will take 6 months to show results, right around the time of the elections. I'm Ben Strusand, and that's my view.
Ben Strusand, only on AM 700 KSEV.
Chris X here to tell you about Humble Amco Transmission and AC Specialists. People who know go to Amco. I personally trust Jay Streckfus and Humble Amco with all of my vehicle's needs. With complete car care, they'll take care of all of your auto needs as well. Always a free check engine light inspection, and tell them that Chris X sent you for a free engine scan. Call Jay today at 281-446-0862. That's 281-446-0862, or online at humbleamco.com.
Hey y'all, Craig Collins here. Please check out my brand new show from 6 to 7 o'clock Monday through Friday right here on the Voice of Texas. And also please check out our relatively new social media pages. That's at KSEV Radio on YouTube and Rumble. We are live streaming more and more of our content there every day. And finally, check out my social media pages at Radio Craig C on X and Facebook. That's the Craig Collins Show Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 o'clock and wherever you get your podcasts on KSEV KGBC, the Voice.
Tank.
Arriba, amigos. That's right. It's Amigos Forever here on the Voice of Texas. Thanks for joining us on a wet Friday drive home afternoon, summer drive home afternoon. You've got the the
Strew with a View.
Right, Strew with a View of the view of
Of
just
the
of
prior
the previous
Strew view, yes.
Right.
Ben
And-
Struzan.
And you've got the El Capitan, Senator Betancourt, because our good friend Judge Eric Adel is looking kind of peakedy today. You're kind of
bloated with pizza.
You're bloated with pizza.
Yeah,
Is that what
special
it is?
shout out to Jimmy X, by the way. He always comes through.
Jimmy X was huge on the pizza.
I was.
just
They
huge on
took
the
it
pizza.
away from me. They took the boxes out.
The boxes are away, so Craig can take them away to eat later, right,
By the way,
Craig?
speaking of that, I'm
Say yes. Say yes on air.
Absolutely, I'm going to do that.
Okay, good. I want truth in advertisement.
I do want to say something. We lost Gary. I found out from you, our producer.
you know that. Yeah,
and I do. We need to take just a little bit of time.
Yeah.
To remember. Really part of the family.
Yeah, we don't always discuss our producers' last names on air, so people sort of get confused because we've had multiple Garys here, but the Gary I'm referring to has been here for decades, literally decades, and he was the person responsible for a lot of our audio and putting together our commercials and Maestro views.
One-man show, really, for a long time.
And the guy had an ear.
Advertisers like myself, man.
He had an ear for making things come out perfect, and he also worked the board forever, off and on for us.
And when we used to call him producer El Supremo, Gary, that
extraordinaire.
was so, our hearts out to the Gary
family.
Elliott family. Because he's been a big part of the KSEV family for at least 3 decades. He, however, was a big proponent, actually, of getting Craig Collins involved, okay? And was always somebody that I know I could count on for, literally decade after decade.
And he will be sorely missed.
He will be.
And he went back to KIKK. He has history about all the country and westerns, the Gillies, and all of that.
He actually knew when you went to the 1950s. He actually knew what music you were playing. Okay.
Well, we were in Simpatico.
Well, all right. Anyway, hats off to Gary Elliott and
Fannis family.
And Fannis family. That's right. Godspeed. And he would say the show must go on. So Ben,
yes, he would.
What do you want to take?
Well, I guess we'll start where we left off before, and that's with the polling. People are predicting doom and gloom for Democrats I just wishful thinking for Republicans in November. I mean, you hear it in the media. It's almost a glee when they're talking about it on air, and a lot of the talking heads are feeling that way, that they can't wait for the election to occur because they believe they're going to have an easy time over it, a walkover over the next in 6 months from now. But I'm not so sure it's that easy because, we have always had our share of flawed candidates, Eric, as you are so fond of pointing out.
Yes, we don't.
There was a time back maybe 6 or 8 years ago where we should have done a lot better, but we had one candidate that had that thing. I don't know, there was a conversation about rape, and we had another candidate that had a conversation about dating girls who were 15 years old or something like that.
Yeah, but we had Gary Hart.
Yeah, whatever you had.
Monkey business.
Right. Well,
Okay.
So we have had our share of people with a lot of personal baggage, but you have a Senate candidate right now up in Maine where the Democrat, whoever that nominee is, and I think on Tuesday they're having their primary.
Is it Plattner or something
Yeah,
like that?
Planter.
Planter.
Graham Planter. The guy, the Stormenfuhrer with the swastika on his chest. He said he didn't know what the symbol was or meant, but then
you don't believe that, right?
Well, no, I don't.
Oh.
And then there were girlfriends now that have come out and said, yeah, he knew exactly what it was. And then there are more girlfriends that have come out and said, yeah, he was sexting me while he was married.
His wife brought those out.
Yeah, and then his wife brings them out. So it is never a dull moment. Yet, nevertheless, he has been leading Susan Collins, not a Republican that folks down here really like, but a Republican nonetheless.
But there's really
by 6 or 7 points.
But there's a big distinction here. Guys, grab line 1, by the way. The distinction is this. He's still in a primary. All this information's coming out because I think Democrats are trying to torpedo him because
at the primary.
In
right.
the
They
primary,
want him out.
They want him out. Now, The governor suspended her campaign.
But she's still on the ballot.
But she's still on the ballot, and so she could turn around and win it if there's enough no vote on this guy. Now, this guy has got a lot of problems, and the reality is that if Republicans were holding this information, they would have waited till after he couldn't get off the ballot. He could still get off the ballot. And Eric, if you're going to
wife released the text.
No, but I mean, which is just nuts.
Nuts.
Okay,
Right.
I mean, now Maine is a leftist state, and it is very anti-establishment.
But they have independents. Like King runs as an independent.
Well, they do, Ben, but it's really anti-establishment
Right.
because they were in the Democrat primary anti the governor. Now, I think they've got a big decision, Eric, because if they take Maine out because Planter is just too nuts to vote for, that means they have to win, effectively. All the remaining toss-up Senate states, which won't happen.
Real Clear has 8 Senate seats in play, what they consider to be in play, and one of them is Maine, and another one is Texas, and another one is Alaska. So they have to win, 6 out of 8 in order to do that, in order to take control of the Senate, because
That's not gonna happen.
we own the tiebreaker. And if they don't get what they thought they were going to take Susan Collins out in Maine, and as much as we may not like her here in Texas, the way she votes, she's still a Republican, and when it comes to whether or not you want a Republican in control of the Senate or not, I think it's really important.
Let me try to put this in perspective.
She's as good as we're going to get, right?
Right. Yeah. For anybody that understands, because I actually I lived in Connecticut, as a kid, and actually flew in and out a lot to a robotics company called Unimation that was the first U.S. robot company in Danbury. There are no Republican U.S. representatives in New England. None. There is one Republican senator, Susan Collins. If she goes, there is nothing left of the Republican Party up there federally, all gone. Now the advantage is that Planter had probably a 7-point lead. It was probably going to bury Susan Collins. And Collins always polls bad, comes back at the end.
Out.
But she gets a load of the independent votes.
Right. But
and
Eric,
they may be uncomfortable with Planter.
Eric,
that's it.
If you don't dump this guy, then Collins.
I don't know
back.
they have a choice now, Paul. I mean,
no, they still do.
Well, but they have the primary on Tuesday.
No, but there's the period to get off the ballot is not passed. I saw.
I mean, even if he wins, they could force him off and put a new candidate in.
Yeah, there's a period of time before this is certified they can get rid of him. But it's obviously he's got to get rid of himself.
Well, I'll tell you one thing: if they get rid of him, whoever they put in is going to beat Susan Collins. They'll
Probably.
be angry that
no. See, the difference is the rebound, Eric. You're right.
Yeah, I mean
that
Susan Collins will lose, but she has a better chance keeping him.
Yeah, Planter.
On the.
Sure.
Oh no,
we know that.
Well, that's why the
Absolutely.
Republicans aren't doing this because they want Planter to
Listen,
run
every
against.
state,
He's a flawed vessel.
every state has some of those candidates they wish weren't on
yeah.
the ballot.
So Paul, and not to tie that to Texas, but I am curious, what is the plan? Do you think what needs to be the plan for getting Republicans back that supported Cornyn, that don't like Paxton, getting them to come out and vote? And are they willing to sacrifice the Senate Republican majority because they don't like Paxton? Will they come out and vote for Paxton against somebody like Tallarico?
Okay, now if you remember, we've been tracking this number. For a while, it was about 25% of Cornyn voters said they wouldn't come back, and then it dropped to about 12% that wouldn't come back. The latest numbers that I'm hearing are like 6%. So,
well, that's not enough to affect the election, I don't think.
Well, it may be because there's no crossover going the other way. Okay, so but we'll see, and it just depends on how people feel at the time.
And your turnout is going to be.
Well, what I hear,
but the real problem, Ben, is they won't come vote at all. That's a bigger problem.
Right.
Well, that's for the whole ticket.
That's the point.
And then the second point is, what about the independents? Because there is a real downdraft there, okay, in independents.
They're not going to vote for Paxton. They may not vote, but they're not going to vote for Paxton, the independents. I don't think.
Well, he'll get
They would have
some,
voted.
but
They would have voted for Cornyn, I think.
What was the split in that Senate, state Senate race up in Fort Worth?
43-57. Oh, it was as bad as 70 in Hispanics. It was
no, independents.
I think it was close to 70-30.
Okay,
it was pretty bad. Now, that was, of course, at the height of all the shootings and everything else.
Right, that was right at the same time as what was going on in Minneapolis.
I don't foresee Tallarico as a favorite. I mean, we thought that about.
Well, neither do the betting markets.
Huh?
Neither do the betting markets.
No. Look, we've been through this before. We had a good candidate in Beto, came up 3 points short. That's a victory kind of in a red state. I don't say he's going to win, but his downdraft in several major counties will have some impact on a lot of the fervor, the red fervor in this state. I really believe that. Valley could be at risk of giving up some House seats.
Well, and really, when you look at that problem, that started in November of last year, because that's more, I think, when you peel back with the exit polling and everything else, is that's when Hispanics were noticing that people that weren't criminal illegal aliens were getting deported. That's the beginning of that.
Neighbors,
Right.
yardmen.
Yeah, right. People they knew. That was the beginning of that. And then what happened up in Minnesota just effectively turbocharged the whole thing. All right, let's get a quick call on for the break. Al, come on, from the West Side. You're on the Voice of Texas.
I wanted to offer my sympathy. I talked at length to Gary Elliott because some of the problems my son was having, Gary Elliott knew a lot about it relating to pain, and Gary said a long time ago he had a hard time with pain, and he stepped away from drugs to handle it. And my son died in September, and I talked to Gary afterwards, and he was very sympathetic about that. I've never seen Gary face to face. I've been to one or two of y'all's parties, but Gary was working.
Yeah, because
I wanted to say that he was a really good guy to talk to over the phone.
He was a solid guy, great human being, wonderful, colleague up here, and we're all going to miss him, and we just wish him and Godspeed and his family. But he was
you got
always.
One more minute.
I'll give you a quick minute, and then we'll take a break.
One of the things I had a long talk with a lady born in 1928. She was talking about all the things that the general public did without during World War II. And, of course, she knew about the Depression before that, where most of the people didn't have much money most of the time. But what I wish the leadership, the national leadership would do is emphasize that we will all sleep a little better if the folks that the religious folks that control Iran, if they don't have access to a nuclear weapon. That's what I think that they need to say pretty often. And it's like Trump doesn't say that succinctly, or none of the other folks around him
I
ever
think
seem
Al,
to say it
he's,
succinctly.
for about a week, he said it just constantly, with South Lawn, getting on the helicopter. I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. But what's your real point, Al, is that people don't realize what can happen when bad guys get bad stuff. And that happened in World War II. And you're right. My mother told all the stories about, they used to literally, Eric, you'll love this, paint on hose because they didn't have nylons, and they used to, they didn't have rubber, and they didn't have, you go down the list, it was, we had consumed a lot of our supplies for the war effort, and became the arsenal of democracy as a result. Ben?
Yeah, Jim, I think just a little different reference point, observation that the American people, and Eric is a perfect example, don't feel that preventing Iran from getting a nuclear weapon is worth paying higher gas prices.
Oh,
and I don't agree with that position at all, because I think those people are really bad guys, and they are homicidal maniacs who are willing to commit murder in the name of Allah. So I think it's imperative that we stop him. And no president or any politician ever gets credit for preventing something bad from happening. It always has to happen before the American public is willing to support.
No question. All right.
Whatever action.
Al, good call. Thanks for the call. Have a great weekend. Folks, get your calls in 281-558-5738. We're going to have Jim Cardle on from the Winners and Losers show. that we just had up in Austin at noon, and we'll have him on next here on The Voice of Texas.
Learn if you do the job right, people trust you and customers care that you show up and do what you say you're going to do. Hi, I'm Tommy Mello, owner of Garage Door Doctor. From garage door repairs to upgrades, we show up, we stand behind every job. We only use the best parts, and spring's guaranteed to last a lifetime. When you care about the people you serve, you work harder and it shows. Call Garage Door Doctor today or schedule online at garagedoordoctor.biz.
Garage Door Doctor. From the KSEV Weather Center. Tonight, expect partly to mostly cloudy skies with humidity, a few showers, and a thunderstorm. The temperature will drop to 74 degrees. Tomorrow will bring variable cloudiness with a chance of showers and a heavy thunderstorm, remaining humid with a high of 85. Tomorrow night will be partly cloudy with a few showers and a thunderstorm with a low of 77. Looking ahead to Sunday, anticipate variable cloudiness with more showers and another heavy thunderstorm in the humid weather, reaching a high of 87. With the KSCB Weather Center forecast, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jason Caterina.
This is Kevin O'Hara with O'Hara & Company Real Estate and O'Hara Homes. I'm going to pose some questions that you might want to research. Why was JFK assassinated? Did we really land on the moon? Is the Earth really a globe? And is it the size they tell us it is? Did 9/11 happen the way we were told? Are pharmaceutical companies really there to cure diseases? Who are doctors trained by? Did God create everything on earth that we need to stay healthy? Is fluoride in our water really helping us? What are those long trails of clouds left by airplanes, and what's in them? Did all the astronauts die in the Space Shuttle Challenger explosion? And is Elvis really dead? I search answers for everything. And if you're searching for a real estate company, give O'Hara Company Real Estate a call at 281-373-3393. Again, that's 281-373-3393, or look us up on the web at oharare.com. I have a special guest with me, my granddaughter, Bailey.
God bless America, God bless Texas, and God bless my pop.
Tune in to the Ray Massey Reverse Mortgage Show each Friday at 1 p.m. and Saturdays at 3 p.m. with Treybo Mortgage. Or call Ray directly at 855-266-1600 or online at reversemortgages4texans.com.
Does your company need to be compliant with U.S. Coast Guard 2022-0802? Do you require an independent third-party vendor for penetration testing? If you do, call Tactical Cyber Services at 713-229-0030 or go online to tacticalcyberservices.com. We can work with your internal IT group or your security vendor like Whit O'Brien to make sure your documentation is compliant. Call 713-229-0030 today.
The Chris Salcedo Show.
You are not that qualified to do what you do.
So you think I'm not qualified to do what I do? What do you base that on? Is it because I'm a Latino? Is it because I'm a conservative? What are your qualifications?
Well, I attended Juilliard. I'm a graduate of Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that. Now what do you think?
Chris Salcedo, the most qualified talk show host in America. The voice of Texas. Got a question or comment for the Amigos? Call now.
And that's what we do every day on The Voice of Texas. We tell you the facts and where your money goes, especially when the three amigos rides into town. You got the tax man, the soul man, and the judge. And as promised, one of the hosts of a show actually at 5 o'clock on Sunday, Jim Cardle of Cardle and Woolley, and also of Winners and Losers, that we had a great show up in Austin with Sherry Sylvester at noon to 1 at Texas Public Policy Foundation. Hey, Jim, glad you could join us on The Voice of Texas.
Good to be with you, Paul. Appreciate your Donald Trump invitation. It was a big hit, and we had a great time at lunch.
You know, it was huge. It was beautiful. And, Craig, I was really funny. I mean, I was really just rocking it. Jim, we talked to Sherry Sylvester last hour, and I want to get your take on this, that the first question has really actually been on our show, does the clips and research. Same thing. We've got higher employment, but we've got consumer sentiment in the toilet, and you know,
yes,
which force is going to going to dominate, long term. So, Jim, why don't you give the audience your take that you gave live at Winners and Losers today?
Well, I might surprise you, Paul, a little bit, or Senator, and I get criticized sometimes when we talk about it over here in Austin because I'm an eternal optimist. You and I kind of grew up back in the Reagan era and been going at it ever since. But there's no doubt you can't deny, you can't dismiss the consumer sentiment concerns about gas prices and the like. However, the old saying that you want to buy low and sell high, I think we're definitely at the low point right now. And just think about it. You mentioned the employment numbers. The employment numbers for the last 15 months of Donald Trump's presidency have absolutely befuddled every national economist, save but a handful. The stock market was going to tank. The tariffs were going to tank the economy. Haven't seen any of that with these job numbers. We just had the strongest 3 months of employment growth that we've had in the Trump presidency, so you can't deny that. And then finally, what you got to remember is that folks are about to go on summer vacation. They're going to take a break. They're going to disengage from politics, and then they'll come back and we'll put our kids back in school in the fall. And I think it's going to potentially be the war could be the engagement in the Middle East could be over. The job growth will be continuing. It wasn't only job growth; it was manufacturing growth. It was auto sales growth. Over Memorial Day, we had a record, historical, never-seen-before number of Americans traveling by automobile over 50 miles. That means the gas prices weren't hurting them too bad. People are spending money, and I think give us a couple more months, Americans will come back, we'll go into the home stretch, and then you're going to be seeing things. Have you all been talking about all the fraud that's going on across the country?
No, but let me get you that question, but let's finish this up and get comments on where we're at on this point. Now, look, I agree with you. You've got people on the road, and the problem with gas prices being high is that you start the travel season high, and if and unfortunately, if this gas price stays high due to oil staying high, because we can't get a deal in the Middle East for a period of time, then we're going to be looking at most of the driving season, Eric's going to be, a high cost. Now, when people drive out of state, Ben, they're going to run into $5 gas. Now, when they do, it's going to make an impression on them, and it does drain their bank account. But Jim is right. They're spending the money because they're going to go. And there's really two classes of spending. 70% of the economy, Ben, is consumer spending. There's a wealth class. Yep. There's a class that deals with the stock market that will be spending money if they have to spend down their balance sheet unless they think there's a recession coming.
It's called K-shaped.
Thank you. See, Ben has the technical term as always. And Ben, then there is the working class and the middle class that are going to be hurt by this energy cost.
And there's more of those than the ones.
And there's more of those that are spending.
Airfares.
So the longer, and jet fuel will be up, okay. So the longer this goes, the more likely that people feel it and feel it sharply.
Yeah.
But it's a tale of two cities: the economy, hiring, but people's sentiment all-time low. Ben.
Yeah. I just have this impression that these prices are going to stay elevated and probably move higher over the next couple of months, just based on, what I'm seeing with input costs and which way everything's breaking. So politically, I think it may be more expedient that Trump and everyone else in a position to advocate for Republican candidates, that they convince voters it's worth it on a short-term basis to incur some kind of pain in exchange for the benefits that we're achieving, rather than to hope for things to reverse over the next couple of months. Because I don't know that's going to happen in time to make any kind of material impact.
And Jim, let me ask Judge Andel, who's on the Democratic side. That's the hope of the Republicans. So what's the reality?
Oh, if you go with that, with Ben's argument, really going to try to intellectually convince the public?
Well, I mean,
that it's worth the pain.
You're going to make it. You think they're really stupid, Eric?
Everything is with you is binary, though. It has to be one or the other.
Well,
it's not
in
true.
politics, that you're making a choice between a Democrat or Republican.
Yeah, but
between A or a B.
No, your choice is inherently convinced.
Okay,
that
let me go to our guest. Okay. Because if you've ever taken a Myers-Briggs test, there's 25% of Ben that react to this digitally, 1 and 0s, and about 75% that are you, Eric, that react to it emotionally. Jim, you take it from here.
And
so,
that's the problem. That's the issue.
And that's the issue.
I was going to say,
the issue.
Whoa. Gas, West Texas crude, did you see this morning, down under $80 a barrel?
Oh, great.
It's down
now
23% in the last month at the international trade.
Now, by the way, the stock market,
the gas tank.
Now, stock market just went down today, so oil actually went down another 7 points. So, is there a deal? Did we miss a deal while we were on air in Winners and Losers?
There's a different deal every 15 minutes.
Okay, well,
exactly. But what I'm saying is that you're gonna see these, just like at the beginning of the year, prices were under $2 a barrel. Then we had the war in April. Not that even if the war ends, there will still be increased prices, but they'll be down. And then you're looking at other things such as the Republicans going on the offensive and bringing out some of the liberal policies that Democrats, even here in Texas with Tallarico, who I think is going to be worse than Beto and a better to the Republicans than anybody's anticipating, those types of things will be coming out of communism, socialism, packing the court, eliminating the Supreme Court. Did you see Hakeem Jeffries said the other day we need to get rid of the Supreme Court? Chuck Schumer saying on the floor of the Senate that nobody respects the men and women of Border Patrol and ICE.
Hey,
These
Jim,
are going to be things that come up.
Yeah, I saw Hakeem, say we don't need the third branch of government. We don't need it. It's just going to be me.
There goes my job.
Yeah, there goes Eric's job as a as formerly appellate judge and now on the bench for family law here. Hey, Jim, give you 2 minutes on corruption. Make a couple points that you made today, and then we're blowing through break. So talk about corruption. Then we got to run.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Governor Abbott put Texas through the ringer a couple months ago. Senator, you all in the Texas legislature have been pretty good at maintaining some guardrails and watching this. But just yesterday, there was a press conference up in Ohio. You had the FBI director, Kash Patel. You had Mehmet Oz from Medicaid and Medicare. You've got J.D. Vance doing it at the national level. You've got Brandon Gill, our own Texas congressman from East Texas, at the congressional level. They've already put 49 people in jail in Minnesota. They're just now starting in Michigan, New Jersey. We all know what's going on in California, where you had 49 companies accidentally registered at one address. You're talking about $1 trillion. Some have said it could solve the national debt if they're not careful. The left has perfected the model where the government's giving away somebody else's money. There's a new sheriff in town, and I guarantee you that Todd Blanche and Department of Justice are going to be all over this 6 ways to Sunday, and they're going to be exposing the crime Americans don't like being ripped off.
Yeah, and Jim, look, the California deal is, if it wasn't serious money, and it is, even by California standards, huge out there. But that's the type of fraud that we're dealing with. 49, shell companies that want address. That's very typical, fraud out there. And that's one of the reasons why maybe, just maybe, they might actually have a new mayor of the city of Los Angeles. We'll see.
And Paul, let me mention one other thing. You're talking about a very good thing there. If Democrats are in trouble in California, that's indicative of the nation. If in Texas you see an advertisement in Houston that James Tallarico's campaign went vegan and doesn't like to eat beef, How many people are going to vote for him?
I'd rather see.
If he
By the way,
says that there's 6 sexes and nobody can define the 6 sexes, how many Houstons are going to vote for him?
Hey, Jim, on the vegan thing, I'd rather see that commercial run in West Texas because in the urban area, it's less confrontational. But
good point. Good point.
Hey, Jim, listen, we enjoy listening to the Winners and Losers show, the Carl Woolley show.
Texas Insider on Sunday evening. Yes,
that's
sir.
right, because you're the Texas Insider. That's your Twitter account, and that's you. And,
yes, sir.
And on the way to church, I always you listen from 5 on till I got to go live at 5:30. And it's great to have you. Maybe we can get y'all back to back with the Amigos rerun. Anyway, because y'all are great. So thanks for
let's start doing it.
Thanks for having me on. I'm glad I could put you on the 3 Amigos.
Great weekend.
Yeah,
back to you, Jim.
Thank you.
Here.
Okay.
I just don't see how you can run a Senate race on the hope that gasoline prices fall or that inflation slows down. I mean, if it happens, great. You can use it. You can take credit for it if you're a Republican, but you cannot run a campaign hoping that that's going to happen. Well, you have to run a campaign against the person and attack the person and what his positions are and his beliefs are. So if Tallarico's got votes that show he's a progressive, let's find out about him.
All right. We've blown through the break.
We have.
You get to respond with good
Can I go
news.
now?
Yeah, no, you get to go. You get to do your good news, and then we'll come back with more of what Ben's thread, because I think he just had enough and had to do a ministry review. But so get your calls in 281-558-5738. Join Paul at 281-558-KSEV or pound KSEV. It's free for those Verizon callers. We'll be cranking it up a notch with Eric's Good News next on The Voice of Texas.
For 15 years.
It's not a pretty truck, but it has everything we need to get the job done. I kind of like the way it looks.
Most roofing repairs cost less than $500. Why? Because we find the cause of the leak and repair that leak. We won't try to sell you services you don't need.
And we'll fix it right away because everything we need is in our truck.
Don't put off fixing a leaky roof. Call me at Tejas Roofing and I'll send over the truck. 281-251-0304. When you think of roofing repairs or a new roof, think Tejas Roofing, your Houston roofing company. 281-251-0304. That's Tejas Roofing, 281-251-0304.
Checo Pro Joe here. Join me this Saturday at 11 a.m. when Andrew from A&A Gem Pro Generators discusses whole home standby generators and the peace of mind they bring. That's this Saturday at 11, right here on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas.
Dan Patrick for my friend Louis Flory and Ability Tree Experts.
Spring is here and summer just around the corner, which means it's time to deep root fertilize your trees in addition to spraying for insects and disease. Let Ability Trees help maintain their value and repair all damage. Fed and pruned tree will be less susceptible to wind damage and uprooting. Caring for the beautiful and valuable trees on your property that you can't replace should be done by experts. And the experts I use, it's very clear. It's Ability Tree Experts and Louis Flory, my friend for over 40 years. Gosh, this guy is the pro when it comes to taking care of trees. You know, pruning is important for the health of your trees, and pruning limits resistance to spring storms and allows the sun and fresh air into the canopy. Trees can be in distress several months without showing any signs, so don't wait to protect your investment at 281-441-4179, 281-441-4179, or visit their website at abilitytrees.com. Right now, Ability Trees is giving a deep root feeding with every tree pruned. Ability Trees, Houston's leading tree care professional.
This is Kevin O'Hara with O'Hara & Company Real Estate in O'Hara Homes. Davy Crockett addressed the Tennessee Congress after losing his bid for a seat. You may all go to hell, I'm going to Texas. Apparently a lot of other people from other states are feeling the same way lately. We have people coming to Texas from every state in the union. I think they are looking for a state with more conservative views. The word Texas comes from the Caddo Native American language, which means friends or allies. Texans are some of the friendliest people on the planet. If you're moving from another state, Texans will treat you well. If you're you're fleeing from a liberal state, leave those views there. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, give O'Hare & Company Real Estate a call at 281-373-3393. Again, that's 281-373-3393, or look us up on the web at o'harere.com. If you need any type of construction work done, call O'Hare Homes at the same number, 281-373-3393. Davy Crockett ended up being an historical figure in Texas history and embodied the Texas spirit. God bless America and God bless Texas.
Got a question or comment for the Amigos?
Happy birthday, Freddie Stone. How about that?
Sly and the Family?
Sly and the Family Stone. Play a few more, then I'll introduce everybody. Oh, you did or didn't? Oh, I got one more. Another Sly and Family Stone.
Is this like the Grand Planter theme song, Ben? That wasn't bad. I'll give myself a on that. Little alto sax here.
Kenny G's birthday.
Kenny G, you got it.
Great song. Gary U.S. Bond's birthday.
50s.
2:45.
50s.
You like that song?
Okay. I wasn't born yet.
Happy birthday, Prince.
Okay, very good. Purple rain, purple rain. Oh, God. No, then
Happy birthday, Dean Martin.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Ben's going, who's Dean Martin?
Oh, I know who. This
Yeah,
isn't even his
Dino.
best song.
No, but it's Houston.
He just
It's
said
Houston. I was just
and he
going thematic.
And he was crooning Houston. And Houston, Houston, Houston.
So there's one historical moment. There's many more, but on this day in 1947, you got a picture of the
1947.
1947. Everyone's sitting
Roswell.
around the table. They're over in Europe, and they're sitting around, and so this guy stands up for America and says, "Hey, we got a good idea. We're just going to rebuild Europe for you, and we're going to call it
George Marshall
Plan. We're going to call it." And so the German said, "Let me hear that one. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me make sure I understand this correctly."
Who was the guy that was one of the secretaries who wanted to turn Germany into an agrarian society, wipe out all their industry?
I think that was the Secretary of War, Henry Simpson.
Yeah, I mean that was the other
or Patton.
Stimson.
Or Patton.
Yeah, no, Patton just was ready to crank it up against
and
the
keep going to
Ruskies.
Russia, keep going to Russia.
Yeah, he wasn't ready, but yeah, there was competing plans. Unfortunately, the Marshall Plan won because now, especially in the Pacific, the Japanese are one of the few people that's willing to stand up with us.
Look, we have a tradition of turning our enemies into our closest
Frenemies,
allies.
and then to allies.
Yeah, I mean, look at Great Britain. I mean, we started as a country at war with Great Britain in 1776 and 1812.
Ben, that was, to quote Prince Charles, the British were just trying to do some redecorating at the White House. They used torches to burn the drapes, and then it spread to the building.
Well, I will say, thank goodness, we picked up Japan as an ally.
Thank
We
goodness.
did.
For darn
Absolutely.
sure.
Thank goodness.
All right, let's get Pablo on. Pablo, you're up next on The Voice of Texas.
Yeah, I want to make one quick comment before I get into about Trump is getting sandbagged by the Iranians. Tarico, and y'all mentioned it, he believes there's 6 genders. Eric, how in the heck do you have 6 genders? Do you not believe the Bible? Are you not have any common sense?
Well, I don't.
He was reading National Geographic.
Those are kind of
All
two
right.
separate questions. Do you
That's
believe it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Trump.
Go to the
is
Trumpster,
so
Pablo.
enamored. Trump is so enamored with making the greatest deal of all time that he's putting the security and the liberties and freedoms and security of the American people in this nation and also the free world and our ally Israel at risk.
Okay, now Paul, let's
There's
hold
no
Paul.
enforcement.
Paul, hold that point. Now, what happened today? Did oil really go down below $80 a barrel?
Yes.
Okay, so somebody thinks it's over. What's going on here?
Well,
okay,
it's one day is not a.
But Ben, that's a huge move in one day. It's a huge move.
Not these days, Paul. I mean,
but the thing is that you can't depend on Arab states to enforce it. Okay.
No, yeah, I agree.
Look at what's happened with disarming Hamas and getting them out of the Gaza Strip, out of Gaza.
It's a mess.
Nothing's been done, and they have rearmed. And the Arab states are not going to do a dadgum thing about it. They're not going to follow through.
Well, the problem is
Trump
that
can't depend on them.
Paul,
slow
down. Slow down. And Turkey is a member of NATO, but effectively they're a free agent. When you look at what's going on in the Gaza Strip,
they're actually, I think, on more of our enemy side. To be honest with
so
you
don't think think they're frenemies
I
now?
think Erdogan is just he doesn't have a U.S. interest
at all. He's as bad as Armenian.
Yeah,
he's a terrorist too.
He's pretty bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. I mean, he clearly is.
And
playing both sides. Now, Paul, let's take one of these things at a time. All right. What Israel has done by advancing to the Litani River and then taking the Beaufort Castle is they're trying to get back to a defense perimeter that it basically wraps around the Golan Heights. And what's the mountain up there?
Well, yeah, they're just trying to push Hezbollah back to make it more difficult.
Now,
for
whether
them
they
to
were
attack.
really headed hold on, Paul, whether they were really headed to Beirut,
I don't think they wanted anything
I don't
to
think
do
they
with
had to do with it because there's too many people in between where they're at now, and it's pretty much uncontrollable. They tried that once and it didn't work. Now the Gaza Strip, the Israelis pull back. Hamas starts moving back in. Now, the Israelis have moved back, I think, another 5% back around.
I mean, quite frankly, those are Israeli problems and really not, big U.S. on the U.S. agenda. We've got to worry about nuclear weapons and getting them out of Iran. And unfortunately, the American people just don't think that higher gas prices are paying them, are worth removing nuclear weapons, and that threat. They're not convinced of that. So I don't have a lot of patience here.
I go back.
But I'm with you on this. You understand that? I don't want a deal that's a bad deal.
Okay, Paul, I need to make one comment. Our earlier guest said that the oil had closed below 80. It looks like I've just looked at the currency markets, and it's crude oil, West Texas Intermediate, closed at 90.54, down $2.50. So it did not fall into off the table. So we just needed to make that correction because otherwise I was going to ask, where's the deal?
Okay, but hey guys, the thing is, there's no nobody. The only enforcement of ridding Iran of nuclear weapons, opening up the Straits of Hormuz, and remember, Trump said that help is on the way, told the Persian people. We arm the Persian people, we turn Israel loose, because you need to remember that it was Israel's Air Force that was integral. And
of course it was.
Intelligence, it was integral.
No, of course it was.
In epic fury.
And Paul, I think if historians will look back, and there is a switch here that they made a decision, Trump himself, is to go big or heavy. When that intel came in, that they knew where all the leadership was, you had two choices. You either struck at the leadership or struck at the leadership and everywhere. And that may be the pinch point of this, but we'll find out. Okay.
So,
but now that you're in it,
the only enforcement, guys, listen, the only enforcement is total annihilation of terrorism to free up. To open up Straits of Hormuz.
And Paul, that never happened.
There's always bad guys.
Bad guys bring up. Paul, hey, we go. Have a great weekend. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, look, I think the blockade will force, if it's allowed to continue, if Democrats in Congress and a couple of lame duck Republicans don't pull the rug out from under Trump, if they allow the blockade to continue, then it will have the effect of getting a better deal out of Iran. It doesn't have to be regime change, But when you can't pay your military hacks or your secret police or your religious police or the government state because you don't have the revenues, and that's what that blockade does, because 90% of their revenues come from that oil coming out of Carter
Our
Island.
intel is about half of the Guard is getting paid.
Yeah, and they're
Revolutionary
and
Guard.
they have to shut in wells here, and
but they own 70% of the real estate in Tehran. There is very little middle class left that the Iranian that the Revolutionary Guard hasn't sponged on.
But the American people may not have the patience to allow this to play out.
Right, and there's two things. It's not the American people. I do, Ben, want to take up after the break because there is a growing number of lame duck senators. A big number.
And they're pushing back.
All right, and so let's talk about that.
What do you expect to happen?
Get your calls in for the bonus round, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV or pound KSEV. It's free for those Verizon callers. Be back with Ben in the bonus round next here on the Voice of Texas.
Goes on the Voice of Texas.
Plumbing emergencies never happen at a convenient time. Usually they happen on the weekends, holidays, or while you're away on vacation. I'm Richard Sod, president of Nick's Plumbing. When you find yourself facing a plumbing emergency, call the licensed and experienced professionals at Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services. Nick's Plumbing has been Houston's first choice for all your plumbing needs since 1979. Our experts can take your most difficult plumbing issues and fix them fast, fix them right, and usually for less than you'd expect. Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services is the right choice for any plumbing job, from a leaky faucet, whole house repipe, or a complete sewer line replacement. You can count on Nick's Plumbing to do the job right. With over 40 years in business and over 150,000 satisfied customers, Nick's wants to be your plumbing company. Nick's Plumbing offers free estimates and free second opinions. Call Nick's Plumbing and Sewer Services, 713-868-9907, or visit us on the web, nicksplumbing.com.
NPL 38548.
Call Nick's Plumbing today. We're on the way.
You know, where we go in life matters, and what we do matters, and we know that taking the wrong road won't produce the best outcomes. Hi, I'm Kathy with Baker Mortgage, and we want you to take the right path when it comes to your mortgage. You know, we live in a world of information overload, but always consider the source, and these are not generally going to be from your big bank or a random offer that comes across your screen. Remember, you're always going to get a better deal on one that you go looking for than one that comes looking for you. You need to deal with somebody who gives a you-know-what, whether or not you're happy in the end. At Baker Mortgage, we do it right. We haven't been around for 68 years because we're lucky. We don't sell CDs, insurance, or anything else. We just provide a great mortgage experience. Isn't that what you're looking for? Call us at Baker Mortgage. I promise you'll be glad you did. We're at 281-313-MOVE or go directly to bakermortgage.com.
Equal housing lender. License number 263213.
Houston Methodist Hospital has been named the best hospital in Texas for patient care and quality for the 14th year in a row by U.S. News and World Report. We are proud to be a top-ranked hospital in the country and nationally ranked in 10 specialties. For more than 100 years, we have been honored to provide you with the highest quality care possible. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it for you. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Got a question or comment?
And welcome back to the Voice of Texas. Thanks for joining us on a Friday drive home afternoon. Three Amigos, been the soul man, the Strew with the view, Strew standing on the right. You got Taxman, Paul Betancourt at the helm, liberal lefty judge Eric Andel sitting across from me. We got a couple of minutes left in the show. I want to go to Would You Rather. Play Would You Rather. Eric, these questions are for you. You ready?
Oh, boy.
Okay. Would you rather Fetterman or Bernie Sanders?
Fetterman.
Would you rather Fetterman or Chuck Schumer?
Fetterman.
Would you rather Fetterman or Tallarico?
Tallarico.
I take Fetterman.
I take Fetterman, too. Fetterman.
Well, and Ben, what we led into is we've got who are the 7 now?
Yeah, so
we've got a lot of
right now. If the likelihood, if you had an election now in the Senate, there'd be 47 Republicans, there'd be 45 Democrats, and by the way, that includes one flip in North Carolina because Tom Tillis is leaving, and the Democrat in North Carolina has the lead by 6 or 7 points.
But he used to have a lead by 11.
Yeah, but so we're giving him that one seat. The Democrats that one seat, so it'd be 47-45 with 8 toss-ups. So the states that are the toss-ups are Alaska, where Dan Sullivan is the incumbent.
My guy's ahead, right?
No, it's a gal.
My gal's ahead.
Well, she's getting ads. I mean, I get her ads on my feed. Okay,
I'll tell you right now, she might have a lead, but
yeah, I think she does.
Okay, but I'll check on that in a second. But in Georgia, Ossoff, if you remember him, he's got a lead in Georgia. In Iowa, it's an open seat. In Maine, we talked about that. Susan Collins versus Graham Planter, the Nazi Stormenführer. In Missouri, it's a Democrat incumbent, but it's an open seat. In New Hampshire, Democrat incumbent, it's an open seat. I don't see much chance of
we don't have any chance for anything in New England.
In Ohio, it's a Republican seat, so it's
I'm looking at that one.
Yeah, and of course Texas. So you guys, based on these numbers, have to win 6 out of the 8 because we got the tiebreaker.
Now, by the way, in the intermediate time, you have things like you've got Tom Tillis, who's pretty
That's
hostile.
the one in North Carolina.
But you've got Cornyn, who's now retired.
Oh, you're talking about the
right. You got Murkowski,
crashed and burned Republicans.
Right, Murkowski ain't gonna play tag.
Right.
Who else? What else?
Well, Susan Collins is obviously voted, not with Trump on a lot of occasions. She's trying to keep her seat. I think the latest
got Cassidy. Okay.
Oh yeah, in Louisiana.
We got Rand Paul.
Yeah. So now
the list is starting to get big.
So you wouldn't want to have any votes right now although they did just pass funding for ICE and Border Patrol for the next 3 years under the budget reconciliation rules. So, which allows unlimited number of amendments. So, because it passed by majority, I think it was 52-47, if I'm not mistaken. All the funding is now for Border Patrol. That's no longer an issue. You can't defund ICE as long as Trump. As long for the next couple of years until you get a.
I thought they had their money anyway.
No, they only had that for a certain number of years, maybe 2 or something. I don't remember.
Okay, so by using reconciliation,
yeah, they got that.
Everything
through.
is now
billion.
funded.
Yes, ICE, Border Patrol.
Okay,
that was ICE and Border Patrol, which wasn't funded before.
So now
that'll help Republicans. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
know what the calculus is on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Of course, it helps us because you can't hold us hostage for a government shutdown.
But I know
which is what you. But
right, okay.
I think Susan Collins actually voted with the Democrats in order to, because she's running.
I could see her voting with the
because
Democrats
she wanted to make
that.
sure they had a majority.
Sure.
But, yeah. So
all right.
Anyway, everybody's got to play their election the way they see it, and maybe we shouldn't give her a hard time considering there's a Stormenführer Democrat
look at
Senate candidate.
Look at Fetterman dancing on both sides of the street.
I tell you what, he dances a lot on our side, man.
Well, Eric Fetterman cannot get elected in Pennsylvania.
You think he can win a primary?
The same campaign team that's doing Grand Planner has dominated Pittsburgh Democrat politics, and they have basically wiped out all the traditional Democrats in Pittsburgh. That's the same group that's helping him win in Maine.
You think he'll win his primary?
No, I hope he'll run as a Republican. Let's take him.
That would be interesting. Yeah, I'd take him.
All right. Well, speaking of take it, y'all enjoy. It's going to be a little bit wet this weekend, but have some fun and do some convention activity next week. I don't know what we're doing, but maybe they're going into the field on Thursday before the Three Amigos. We'll find out next week. Good night. God bless.